I'm Rich with Your Transformations. Today I'm honored to sit with someone whose career spans over 4 decades. John Demarco is a physical therapist based in Ohio. His work reflects not just technical skill, but a deep commitment to both prevention and to healing. John, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rich. I'm glad to be here.
I will start by Can you take us back to the beginning? What first drew you to the world of physical therapy?
Yes, it was when I was in high school at Marietta Senior High School. I was on the wrestling team, and being in the athletic mode, we had an athletic trainer at our high school, and I saw what he was doing. So I was interested in that young people could get injured, and that there was someone there who could help them recover and get back into the game. At the church I went to, there was a physical therapist. His name was Walt Lataz, and I got to meet him and learn a little bit about what he did for a living. And he invited me to come and watch him work whenever I wanted to. He worked at the local hospital in town, and I made an arrangement. I watched what he did. I thought side by side between physical therapy and athletic training that they were both there to help people heal, get back to their lives, and I did settle on physical therapy. I thought that would be more in line what I wanted to do and the type of persons that I wanted to work with going forward in my life and my career.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with a big issue that we try to address here at Your Transformations. Falls are often seen as an issue of the aging, but they affect people of all ages. From your perspective, what are the most common causes, whether physical, environmental, and even emotional?
Okay, well, I think environmental and physical have a great interface, because obviously cluttered house or accidents on the ICD-10 codes, which that's the International Classification of Disease categories. There are a number of categories for falling, including just trips and falls, frequent falls, and even a category for falling out of airplanes. So there is a great interface of physical. However, as a person gets older, the common denominators are a loss of strength, a loss of muscle mass, and then dizziness is one of the top reasons to go see a doctor. I think it's one of the top threes, like the colds, respiratory problems, back problems, and dizziness are probably the top three. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I know dizziness that leads to falls is very common, and there are different causes of dizziness, like vestibular problems, problems in the brain, or just problems generated from neck pain or colds and things like that. So to get back to your question about the common things, dizziness and weakness are the two prevailing problems that a therapist can work on to help the person overcome problems with falling. As far as emotional factors, sure, I think that's at issue. I think a person can get tuned out of being safe by emotions, emotional issues that they're dealing with. So that can also be a factor.
Okay. Are there patterns that you've noticed in how people actually move or don't move that increase their risk?
Yes. Slowness of movement actually is a predictive factor. So if a person has gotten weak, significantly weaker, they move slower. So they're not as sure as their movements. So that's usually related to weakness. and also balance. So we can see a person being tentative on how they move is an indicator that they probably have something is in the background. Actually, what you look for is you see something, a movement pattern, and you wonder what is going on in the background that is causing them to move like that, and then that's what you work on. So that's where diagnostic skills come in. So if you let me go just a little further, balance is can be viewed as a three-legged stool, which one leg would be your vision, your visual brain connection. So as you're moving around, your eyes reach out and grab vertical pictures and horizontal and vertical things like tabletops, door jams, that kind of thing. And that actually helps you right yourself. So that's visual. So another table leg is vestibular, and that's your inner ear. What's going on in your inner ear? Is it functioning properly? If it's not functioning, sometimes people feel like things are spinning. They get dizzy. And the third is your somatosensory, and that is actually your senses and your muscles that interface. So when you're stepping on something, you get a sensory input into your feet, and that tells your muscles how to respond. If you start walking up a hill, your body leans forward because your sensation is telling you, hey, I'm going up a hill, so you lean into it. Or if you're on a gravelly surface, you respond. So those are the three legs of the balanced footstool. If one of those legs isn't working right, then the person is open for falling.
Okay, I like with your last leg there. How much do you see again regarding the last leg? How much do you see a person losing, regardless of age, flexibility in like their ankle and their hips and lower back, and the increase in risk with that? And something you hit on, I want to ask, with our yoga, we try to talk about how a person gets increased body awareness, and I think you spoke to that a little bit. So if you could talk a little bit about flexibility and body awareness and how they play a role in not falling or stabilizing yourself once you start to lose balance.
That's huge. Actually, flexibility is huge. And so the way the body works in terms of maintaining balance is it starts from the ankles up. So you need to be flexible. So the first response when a person feels like they're losing their balance is their foot and ankle strategy. So if they're being, say if you get pushed from behind, if someone comes up and gives you a little shove, what will happen is your toes and your forefoot will dig into the ground, and your calf muscles will fire. That pushes you back. The next stage is, if that didn't quite stop your reaction, then you push back. You push back, and that comes at the hips, the trunk. The third stage is you might step forward. So all those things require flexibility in the ankle and the hips, and strength also. But as far as flexibility goes, one of the predictors is of tight ankles. Sometimes when I'm testing people, I'll find that they don't have good dorsiflexion, which is dorsi is pushing the toes towards the head. So imagine your therapist grabs your foot and kind of pushes your forefoot and your toes up towards the head. Well, usually there should be about normal is about 12 to 20 degrees of flexibility past neutral. So we test if it's tight, if it's stopping at neutral, I know there's a problem there. So that's a problem I can work on as a therapist and train the person to work on it themselves after we get things loosened up and maintain or progress. So the last leg we're talking about is somatosensory. That's just a fancy way of saying nerves and muscles together. So Hip flexibility is very important. If a person gets tight hip flexors, it pulls the torso forwards, and that pulls their center of balance gets ahead of them. You want your center of balance ahead of you a little bit when you're walking, but when you're standing, it should be straight down, like dropping down between your feet and ankles. So, in a nutshell, yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. Ankle and hip flexibility, torso flexibility, all very important. Going upstream, uphill from the hips, you get into your thoracic area above your low back, and sometimes with our age of computers and cell phones, and everybody's like this all the time, you can get a kyphosis again that plays into poor flexibility. So with advanced stretching techniques, you try to get that extension back into the thoracic area.
You bring up an interesting point. Do you see out there younger and younger people having issues because of the digital age and the curved neck and the poor posture?
Absolutely. Yeah, you see it just walking around. It's astounding. Being at my age, I'm fighting for my posture. They're not even fighting for it. They just are walking around like. And I don't know what the statistics are, but I can tell you one little sidebar that's kind of interesting is that the hand surgeons actually do replacements on the knuckles here, and they're seeing a 10-time increase in the need to do replacements on these joints here because of cell phone use. Because people have, the people that were young people as we were starting to get these cell phones, they've been using these cell phones, and now they're having all sorts of problems with their thumb joints, and so they're needing all sorts of work. The hand therapists are busier than ever, and the hand surgeons are busier than ever.
Wow!
So the digital age has been it's created another. It's enhanced the business of hand therapists and hand surgeons.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is there. Hopefully people will start to get a wee bit more balance in their life. I'm going to ask you an unfair question because you'd have to have a quite the broad brush to answer it. But what's one movement or one ritual you believe everyone should incorporate and make part of their daily life?
I've not really thought about that ever. Physically, you're speaking. You're speaking physically?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Physically. Okay. I'm a person who prays, so not a ritual, but it's part of my life. I would physically. I think walking. Walking has got to be the key. Walking and purposefully walking. With a mindfulness on your posture, on stepping well, a continuous walk. I think walking is probably the number one thing.
Okay. It's made a difference in my life, I know. John, you spent a large part of your career working with the older community. What have they taught you about resilience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I like that because with people who are senior citizens or senior citizens plus, they are at risk for infections that can really just wipe them out. An infection that might be a problem for me, or a little problem. I'd go to the doctor and get an antibiotic. That can just wipe them out, or fractures. So quite often when I see patients and clients come in, I do their evaluation and I think, oh boy, this is going to be difficult. However, the mindset is they just stick with it, and I encourage them, just stick with it. And I see things that are maybe short of miracles, or maybe they are miracles, but but the person is got a mindset of, I'm going to do this. I want to keep my life. I want to live in my house. Or if they live in an assisted living, I want to live in assisted living or independent living. I just want to live here. I don't want to move. I don't want to downgrade my life. And they work for it. And it's a matter of time and effort. And that's what the healing is, time and effort. So I what I think that my short answer to your question is the willingness to show up and let their effort do the work, and then let time, the healing on the body's time scale. So we don't heal as fast. They don't heal as fast as they want to. Most people don't. Usually, I tell people, hey, in your mind, you're on the interstate doing 75 miles an hour, but your body is still in the parking lot trying to find the road to the interstate. So just give it a little time. And they do. They hang out and they give it some time. So I think I've been impressed with a lot of people just giving it time, and they, once they turn the corner though, they're back on the interstate.
Nice. With what you just said, what role does emotional connection play in physical recovery, especially with the older population?
Yes, that's huge, and it's the stick to itness, and I think a lot of the people in the generation ahead of us, or the generation that we're on the tail end of, they do have a good, strong stick to itness outlook. So in order to do that, though, the person has to overcome obstacles. Like, there could be depression. I think depression is a huge obstacle a person has to overcome. Depression can really throw them back, and I've seen pretty extreme cases where the person wants to give up, and I think it's depression driven. So the emotional outlook has to be good. It has to be strong. There has to be something motivating them. Motivation has to be good. That's an outlook. Sometimes it takes a relative that comes along and says, hey, honey, father, cousin, brother, look, this therapist is trying to help you. Get in there, and I want you there every day. So sometimes there's a little connection. There's a well, I don't want to do it, but someone's encouraging me to do it. So they get in, they start doing it, and then inside the body there are endorphins that get relief. The self-generated the generated opiates that are in the brain. You do a little bit of exercise, the brain releases these opiates. They feel good. It's like the runner's high. They used to talk about the runner's high in the 70s and 80s. Well, that's what happens. They don't call it the runner's high, but the person isn't moving much. Then they start to do things. They start to do stretching. They start to do exercise, muscle building, walking, and those opiates get released, and that stimulates the emotions to feel better. You have a good feeling of your emotions. So that's connected. So it's a connection that it's physical, but it's also emotional. But they're together. And somebody I like listening to says, we're a three part. Each person is a 3-part person. Their emotions, their physical, and their spiritual. And when one is sick, it affects the other, and then it can affect the whole person. But you can regain health by getting one going again, and they all touch each other.
Okay, nice. I know I'm bouncing a little bit here, but I do want to leave with something a little bit optimistic, I hope. When we talked about the younger generation with the digital age and its impact with not just a muscular imbalance, but also structural, would you say those are not permanent issues that with proper care they can be fixed?
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. The kyphosis can be overcome. Um, I think you've uh, you've uh, you've said it really. Stretching. You stretch the right muscles, you strengthen the right muscles. You can fix all those things. You do that, the vertebrae can align better. It takes a look at the whole body though. It really, if you see a neck problem, you start thinking, what's going on in the pelvis? What's going on in the low back? What's going on in the feet and ankles? If you see a, a problem in the pelvis, what's going on up above and below. So those things can be fixed, but you have to look at it the right way.
Okay. Um, how do you how do you stay grounded and inspired after so many years in this field?
Uh, that's a good question. I I've been at it for quite a while. I took a little detour for a few years outside of therapy, and I realized that this was my calling, and this is what I should be doing as a vocation. Uh, I How do I stay grounded? It's just day to day. I get up and this is what I do. I look at the successes. So I have a good amount of people on my caseload. So I have probably 35 to 50 people, and they're in different stages. So each person's stage, it's kind of like looking at a story, and some of the stories are being completed. Some of the books are it's in the books. It looks good. In certain cases, it doesn't go as well as I wanted, but in many cases it does. And then some people are going on their travel. And so where am I in that story? I'm not. It's a team. I'm not the whole team. I'm just part of the team. But I think being part of the team and seeing stories come to completion in a good way, it keeps me very motivated, and it's sort of a self-driven motivation. So uh, that's I'd say was what it is. It's being on the team and seeing a story come to completion in a good way. Where was I in that, and how do I influence it?
Okay, nice. And John, before we close, I'd like to ask if you could leave one message for anyone viewing in today, germane to what we've been discussing. What message would that be?
I would say, find an activity that you enjoy that really works for you. Whether it's walking, cycling, going to the gym, by yourself. If you're kind of like I am, I'm a little bit of a person who likes a little downtime, a little introversion time, and just doing my own workout, or get a personal trainer, or find a group of people that you like to exercise with, or find a way to get yourself doing something you enjoy that you can continue on. There are things that we're battling against as we get a little older, like sarcopenia, which is a atrophy of the muscle. It happens a little faster as we get older. But if you can find something you like and be consistent at and enjoy, pickleball is big now. If it's big in Toledo, it's probably big everywhere. So people love that. But that's kind of the game of now. So whatever works for you, I would say, just find it and stick with it. And then as you explore these things, there's going to be things that come up, and you're going to find some muscle imbalances as you play these games or cycle or whatever. And then if you do, don't let that get you down. Find a therapist. Find someone who can help you find the right way to deal with it, and keep yourself in the game. So it's getting in the game and then staying in the game, because there will be obstacles for sure, guaranteed. So find a stretching routine, find a strengthening routine, find what the isolation exercises, find the outlook you need to have to address whatever your hindrance is, and then you can continue on doing what you enjoy.
That's a good message for me too. John, your journey reminds us that healing isn't just about muscles and movement, but I gather it's also about presence, patience you spoke of, and honoring the full arc of a person's life, and the whole person concept too. Your works touch lives in ways that statistics can't measure. Thank you for sharing your time with us today, and thank you for serving nature. Everyone, until next time, take care.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
It was a privilege talking to you.